A one-hit wonder. I'm sure the majority of you have heard of at least what a one-hit wonder is. It's usually in reference to a song from an artist or band that becomes what they are solely known for, which overshadows their other work. Prime examples of a one-hit wonder include My Sharona from The Knock, Video Killed the Radio Star by The Buggles, and Mickey from Tony Basil. But the term of a one-hit wonder can be used in other reasons, and I wanted to bring it to the AFL space, specifically for a player's season. A player's career who had a breakout year for one season, which overshadows the rest of their career. So today we're going to be taking a look at some of the biggest one-season wonders in the AFL throughout my time watching footy. Now guys, make sure to let me know down below what first player comes to mind when you're thinking of a one-season wonder, and if you do enjoy this video, of course, make sure to like and subscribe as it helps out the channel grow so much. But for now, let's get into the video. So first I wanted to cast our minds back to 2008 and look at a player named Ree Palmer. Palmer was a highly sought after prospect in the 2007 draft after being a key member of Western Australia's victorious 2007 Under-18s Championship side, where he averaged 32 touches and 3 goals per game. And with Fremantle having an early pick in the draft, he would be taken at pick 7 by the Dockers, which meant he could stay in his home state. Now Palmer would bring some impressive performances in the pre-season NAB Cup for the Dockers and would make his debut in round 2 of the 2008 season versus Hawthorn. And from there, he would have a great first season. He would receive his Rising Star nomination in his second game after having a breakout performance against the Eagles, and at the end of the 2008 season, Ree Palmer recorded an average of 23.1 disposals a game and was damaging on the scoreboard with 10 goals. And with a wonderful first season under his belt, he would be awarded the Rising Star Award for being the best emerging player ahead of Cyril Rioli. His career looked set to soar from that point on, but tragedy struck the next season as Palmer would sustain a season-ending knee injury, which meant he would play only 5 games in 2009. And from that point on, he wasn't the same player. In 2010 and 11, he wouldn't play more than 15 games in a season for the Dockers before he was shipped off to the new and exciting team in the GWS Giants. Now for a lot of Palmer's career at the Giants, he would be in and out of the side, not recording more than 17 games in a season. But one season in particular, he was reinvented as a small forward. In 2014, Ree Palmer played a key role for a lot of the season as a small forward, kicking 23 goals and averaging 16 disposals from his 17 appearances. There were some signs that maybe Palmer could reinvigorate his career. However, his career would stall from that point. He would only play 26 more games for the Giants after 2014, and at the end of the 2016 season, Palmer was shipped off to Carlton, where he would only record one more senior game for the club. At the end of the 2017 season, Ree Palmer would be delisted from the Carlton Football Club and would end his AFL career. Now we go to 2009 with a player some of you may remember in Jason Porplyzia. Now Porplyzia was drafted originally back in 2003 to the Adelaide Crows on the rookie list. However, after not impressing the club at the time, he would be delisted at the end of that season. He would then return to Sandful side in West Adelaide and would do everything he could to get another shot at the AFL. And after winning the West Adelaide Best and Fairest Award in 2005, he would be picked up in the pre-season draft by the team who delisted him prior in the Adelaide Crows. Now Porplyzia would have a few good years at the club, kicking 57 goals in his first 44 games, but it was his 2009 season which put him on the map. In 2009, Porplyzia would be seen as one of the most dangerous small forwards in the comp. From 24 games, he would kick 57 goals, including a game where he got a career-high 6-goal haul. At the end of the season, Porplyzia was in the running for a spot in the All-Australian team, but just missed out behind Mark Lacroix and Leon Davis. But to cap off the amazing campaign, Porplyzia would finish second in the Crows' Best and Fairest and would be awarded the club's leading goal kicker award. But unfortunately, Jason Porplyzia never hit the heights of his 2009 season, as he would not record a season over 30 goals for the rest of his career, and injuries would also be a factor in future seasons. In 2011, he would injure his shoulder in the opening minutes of the first game and miss the rest of the season as he required a second shoulder reconstruction that focused on rehabilitation and strengthening. And honestly wouldn't be the player the Crows needed him to be. From that point, Porplyzia would play a further 42 games with 44 goals, and at the end of the 2014 season, he would retire from the AFL with 130 games and 181 goals to his name. So just to put a little bit of perspective on his 2009 season, he kicked 57 goals, which is almost a third of his career tally. And who knows, if it wasn't for a few injury setbacks, maybe Jason Porplyzia could have been one of the best small forwards in AFL history. Next up, we head to 2018 season, where we have Jaden Stevenson. Now back in 2017, Jaden was one of the biggest young prospects heading into the 2017 draft, and eventually he would be picked up at pick 6 by the Collingwood Football Club. And after an impressive pre-season, he would make his debut in round 1 against the Hawks. Now, Stevenson would receive a Rising Star nomination in round 4 of the 2018 season after a massive performance against the Crows, finishing with 13 touches, 4 marks, 3 tackles, and most importantly, 5 goals. This young gun was well and truly on the rise, and he would continue his form for the majority of the 2018 season, finishing with 38 goals from 26 games, including playing an instrumental role in the 2018 final series for Collingwood. Most notably, Stevenson started brilliantly in the 2018 grand final, as he would kick 2 goals in the opening term, which led the Pies to a hot start. However, his game slowly tapered off, and as we all know, Collingwood would suffer defeat against the Eagles by 5 points in the 2018 grand final. But Stevenson had a terrific start to his career, capping off the 2018 season by winning the Rising Star Award. It was a perfect way to end a wonderful season. But in 2019, Stevenson would face massive controversy. In June of 2019, it was reported that Jaden Stevenson self-reported that he'd been placing bets on AFL games. Now, in specifics, he placed bets across 3 games in total. Now, the bets totaled $36, but all of them lost. These came against the Western Bulldogs in round 4, Essendon in round 6, and St Kilda in round 9. They included legs on Collingwood games to win, winning margins, Stevenson's to kick a goal, teammates to kick goals, and teammates have certain disposal counts. Now, $36 doesn't seem like much at all, but AFL players are not allowed to place bets on games, and the AFL laid down the law, as they would hand down a hefty 22-game ban, of which 12 games were suspended, and he also received a $20,000 fine. So in total, he missed 10 games, and before this period, Jaden Stevenson hadn't missed a game since his debut. Now, of course, as the news came out, with Jaden's name being in headlines everywhere for days, weeks even, it would have been extremely tough for him to deal with. But he did own up to his mistake, so people were hoping that he could return to the best of form with the Pies. However, his career seemed to go down from that point. And at the end of the 2020 season, the Collingwood Football Club had to clear players off their list to help with salary cap woes, and Stevenson was one of those casualties, as he would be traded to North Melbourne. Now, when he got to North, Jaden would play his first season through the midfield and a little bit of half forward. And to his credit, he played a decent season with 17 goals from 19 games and an average of just under 22 disposals. Some people thought his career was about to be underway once again, and in 2023 he would play the highest amount of games since his debut season with 21 games throughout the campaign. But in 2024, Jaden's career seemed to take a nosedive. Jaden only played 12 games throughout the campaign and played all kinds of roles. He played forward, at times he played through the midfield, even down in defence. But most people could tell that this version of Jaden Stevenson was a shell of his former self. And at the end of the 2024 season, Jaden would announce his retirement from the AFL. This shocked some, but it felt like Jaden had just lost love for the game. And in a statement made by the man himself, he said that he was not as passionate for the game as he once was. And even though his career didn't pan out the way he would have wanted, or what other people would have wanted, the streets will not forget Jaden Stevenson in 2018. Now, the next player is a bit of a strange pick because he's had a pretty solid career to date. But in 2021, the season of Ollie Wines was an absolute standout from a good career that he's had. Now, like I said, Ollie Wines has always been a good player since he was drafted by Port Adelaide at pick 7 in 2012. And in his first game, he actually would receive a Rising Star nomination. And throughout his career, he has always kept a consistent output. But in 2021, Ollie Wines had one of the best seasons by an AFL player. So in the 2021 campaign, he would get 101 coaches' votes, which is almost double the amount he has had from his career to date. And Ollie was starting to accumulate the ball a lot more, averaging 32 disposals per game, which is a career high for a season. And for someone who is known as a contested in and under sort of player, if Ollie Wines is getting a lot more of the ball, it's safe to say your team is going to be getting a lot more territory. And to cap it all off, at the end of the season, not only did he win the Brownlow medal, but he recorded a whopping 36 Brownlow votes. And at this time, only Dustin Martin in 2017 had reached 36 Brownlow votes in a season. And as most of us see it, Dusty Martin's 2017 campaign is widely regarded as one of the best seasons in history from an AFL player. So Wines was truly on top of the football world. But Wines wouldn't hit those heights since. He has been a good player for a few years now, in similar vein to the rest of his career before the Brownlow season. And his form has dropped under the standard of the Brownlow year, and with Port Adelaide's midfield becoming a lot more stacked with young talent with Zach Butters, Jason Horne-Francis and Connor Rozee, there have been reports of Ollie Wines being a potential trade target for other clubs. However, at this stage, Ollie Wines has remained committed and loyal to the Port Adelaide Football Club. And now to the final player I want to talk about in this video, which is the most recent one-hit wonder type of seasons in 2022 from Peter Wright, who had one of the better seasons you could have as a key forward in the current AFL landscape. But originally, Peter Wright was drafted in 2014 at pick 8 by the Gold Coast Suns. Now, Wright would get the nickname of 2 Meter Peter, and as we all know, taller players a little bit more time to develop to league football standards. Now, Wright would only play 3 games in his debut season with the Suns, with only 1 goal to his name. However, in 2016 and 2017, Peter would become a first-team regular as he played 39 games with 58 goals. So basically 1.5 goals a game. But 2018 wasn't the greatest year for the 2 Meter Peter, as he would only play 7 games for a total of 5 goals and would suffer an knee injury throughout the season. Now, Wright did return to senior footy in 2019, but with players like Ben King taking the role as the number 1 key forward, Wright would be squeezed out of the main team, and at the end of the 2020 season, Wright would move to the Essendon Football Club. Now, he would be a first-team regular for the Bombers in his first year, but struggled to have a massive impact. He kicked 29 goals from 21 games throughout his first season as a Bomber. However, in 2022, Peter Wright seemed to have finally broken through into becoming one of the better key forwards in the game. Wright started the season on fire with 15 goals from 4 games, and despite his team only winning 1 of those, Wright seemed to have finally cracked the code into becoming one of the top players in the comp. His team would finish 15th on the ladder, but Wright had an outstanding season, finishing with 53 goals from 22 games, which included a 6-goal haul against Hawthorn in round 6 and a 5-goal haul against the Brisbane Lions in round 17. And he capped off his season finishing 7th in the Coleman race, along with winning the Bombers' leading goal kicker award, and would also claim the Essendon Best and Fairest award. He was becoming one of the premier key forwards in the comp, but in the pre-season of 2023, Wright would suffer an injury at training and would miss half the season. Now, he would return and still kick 19 goals from the 10 games he played, but with the limited prep time that he had in the 2023 season, Wright couldn't break back to his best, but there was hope with the full pre-season that he could return to greatness in 2024. However, that didn't pan out at all. The season started with a 4-week suspension after this hit against Sydney Swans defender and Harry Cunningham, and didn't get much better from that point. Wright would even be dropped to the VFL side for Essendon's round 19 matchup against the Crows, and the season ended with kicking 19 goals from 14 games. From a guy who kicked 53 goals in a season to averaging under a goal and a half a game, it was a stark drop-off from the massive key forward. So there we have it, guys, the biggest AFL one-season wonders from my time watching footy. Now, of course, let me know if I missed anyone down below. Like, subscribe if you did enjoy this one, but for now, I'll catch you in the next one.